Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Weekdays with Bernie and Jane segment tonight, the left-wing media finds itself in a very difficult place. Liberal icon Geraldine Ferraro is being labeled a racist in some precincts, like the reliably left NBC News. And now Barack Obama's preacher is on the record saying a number of very troubling anti-American things. Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Jane Hall, and from Miami, Bernie Goldberg, also an FNC contributor. All right, Bernie, now this is a real dilemma here. We're breaking this story tonight. The rhetoric is unbelievable. And I don't think the left-wing media is going to want any part of this because it's a no-win for them. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're absolutely right. First of all, Geraldine Ferraro makes an observation, and it takes this same media about 2 seconds to peg her as a bigot. This minister talks about how blacks shouldn't sing God Bless America, but God Damn America, implies that 9/11 is our fault, says all these other things about how the government is selling drugs to black people just to put them in jail. And I don't expect this story to be nearly as big as far as the mainstream media is concerned as the Ferraro story is. But here's something that they should be interested in. Barack Obama has been a member of this congregation for about 20 years. This minister married him and his wife. This minister baptized his 2 daughters. Barack Obama picked a congregation and a church that he would feel comfortable in, and he picked this one. But the media is so in love with this guy. I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse as the campaign goes on and on and on, that this will not be a big story, not as big a story as the Ferraro story was. And I think it's one more example of how corrupt the media has become.
But Dick Morris pointed out that Geraldine Ferraro is a big liberal icon associated with Hillary Clinton's campaign. She has credibility, whereas the preacher doesn't. I disagree with him.
Okay. I disagree with him, not because the preacher isn't as big a person in Democratic circles as Geraldine Ferraro is. That part is true, but because Barack Obama sits in the congregation, in the church. And if he doesn't listen to this stuff on any particular week, he certainly must hear about it, and he stays there. And issuing this statement that, well, I reject these remarks, that's not enough. The media, if they're ever going to give up their pom-poms and become real reporters again, the media needs to say to him, but you were there for 20 years.
All right, well, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. How do you see it, Jane?
I agree with Bernie. I think that this is a very legitimate story. I think from a political strategist standpoint, he has got to disavow it. He's got to do more than issue what sounded to me like a pretty weak statement. You know, he's kind of like my uncle. You don't always agree with people in your family, something like that.
Yeah, it got tougher, though. His latest statement got tougher, Jane.
Well, it got tougher, but he's going to have to, first of all, I think the media should be asking about it. It is very incendiary, and if they don't pick up on it, they will be proving bias. So I'm in agreement with you all. I will say that as a person who's admired Geraldine Ferraro, I mean, it is regrettable to me. Hillary Clinton did not disavow what Ferraro said. It seems to me that the Clinton campaign has let, you know, from the Jesse Jackson remarks that Bill Clinton made about South Carolina,
let me
they've let a lot of things float. Let me just finish.
Geraldine Ferraro was on a Radio Factor. Right after she said that, Geraldine Ferraro was on a Radio Factor, and I told her she was going to get hammered, okay? I mean, I played the clip. But she said, listen, I said in that statement that I, Geraldine Ferraro, would not have been a VP nominee in '76 had I not been a woman. Right. Okay? So I wasn't criticizing Barack Obama's ability. I was just saying that the climate now is favorable to an African American. Now, for her to be called
that's not exactly what she said, Bill.
Yeah, it is. I got the transcript right here.
No, but I mean, as far as she said he was lucky to be who he is. I mean, if you're so lucky to be black, how come we haven't had a black president? I mean, that's just an absurd argument.
All right. If you want to look at it that way, I guess so. But it didn't sound to me like she was criticizing Obama as much as the process, that at certain times in history, certain things are an advantage. Her womanhood.
She was diminishing him, Bill. She was saying he was only there because of his color.
And I agree with that. And I said I disagreed with that he wasn't only there.
I agree.
But she's entitled to the opinion without being labeled David Duke. Come on.
Exactly.
She's entitled. Well, the regrettable thing is, I think, you know, we've got two different issues. This tape is incendiary. Obama has to respond to it. But before that, I think that the Clinton campaign is guilty of making race a subtle issue right before the Pennsylvania primary and then sort of saying, oh, well, gee, you know, we don't really think it's an issue. Obama has tried not to make this about race.
He
You
has.
have to give him that credit.
He's
You
waged a
said that.
campaign devoid of race and through no fault of his own actively, perhaps passively. Now he's got the biggest race guy in the country.
He's going to have to deal with that.
Right.
Right.
Now, Bernie, last question real quick. Do you think this is going to have an effect from the folks? We know the media is going to try to put it aside, but I don't think I think this is big.
It's only big if it's picked up by more than you and one or two other people. If the media ignore this, then it's not a big issue. The media sets an agenda, and it decides what's important. And if they decide this isn't important, it isn't going to have legs.
All right, well, we'll see, won't we? Bernie and Jane, everybody, thank you. The Dew Point, next.